Welcome back, dear students. In this video we are going to study unit 6, which is the animal kingdom, and the first story that we are going to study in this unit is Dragonfly Dilemma, written by Padma Ganpati. Now there are many such wonderful animals and insects which have very unique attributes, but we are not aware about them. Yes, so dragonfly is also one of them. It stays in the underwater as a water bug for up to 2 years. It can stay like that in the stage of larva. Yes, and in this stage it eats anything including tadpoles, mosquitoes, fish and other insects larvae too, and even each other they can eat. Yes, and when the larva stage ends, the dragonfly crawls out of the water, its skeleton breaks open and releases its abdomen. Then its 4 wings come out and they dry and harden over the next several hours or days. They are known to be expert flyers, and they can not only fly straight up and down, they can even soar and linger at one stop just like a helicopter. That is why you will find some old people like me too mentioning that dragonfly is the helicopter insect. Yes, we used to call them when we were kids the helicopter insect. Okay, and if they are not able to fly, they will not be able to have food, as they only eat prey that they catch while flying. Yes, so these are marvelous information that we gathered right now, right? Okay, now in the midst of a dense green forest was a tranquil pond inhabited by a community of water bugs. And it's anybody's guess who these water bugs are? Yes, so this is story. Why is it titled Dragonfly Dilemma? Let's find out. Okay, so it is about dragonfly, but what is the dilemma? Let's find out. So a thick layer of soft mud had collected over a period of time at the bottom of the pond. Here the water bugs scurried about, unaware of the outside world and what it held. In their own way, they were a happy, contented lot living in perfect harmony with their environment. So the writer tells us that these water bugs, which were actually the larvae stage of the dragonflies, they were living in the bottom of the pond where a thick layer of soft mud had collected over a period of time, and these water bugs moved about quickly and hurriedly, and they were quite unaware of the outside world and what there was in that world, and in their own way they were happy, they were contented lot, and they were living in perfect harmony with their environment with no regrets whatsoever, because they were not aware of the outside world too, and they were happy, they were not curious what was there, so they were living in perfect harmony. Now and then a water bug would cling to the stalk of a water lily and laboriously walk up its way up, disappear from view. So now and then they used to find that some water bug will cling to the stalk of a water lily. There were water lilies in the pond, and with great labor it will work its way up and then disappear from the view because they couldn't see outside the water. One day a lady water bug was spied moving slowly up the lily stalk. "What is she up to?" asked a water bug. "Why is she climbing up the stalk?" another wanted to know. They got curious. "Where is she going?" a third inquired. But there were no answers. The leader of the community, whose wisdom everyone respected, gathered her puzzled fellow bugs together and addressed them. Obviously, when this kind of situations come, the leader has to step in. So this lady, who was the leader of the community, gathered everyone and she said, "I would like to share my thoughts with you. The next one to go up the stalk must return to tell us why and where he or she went, and what lies beyond our world." What was their world? The water in the pond. The listeners cheered the leader for her great idea and swore to do as she bid. Okay, suggested. Soon after the meeting on a warm spring day, the leader herself clung to the slippery stalk of a water lily. Slowly but steadily she moved up and up. It wasn't easy though. She was out of breath at times. Several times she slipped but determinedly climbed on till she reached the surface of the water. Exhausted by her efforts, she dropped on a big round leaf. Now, the leader who had herself said that whoever he or she climbs up the stalk and goes out will come back and tell what the world outside was all about. Yes, now let's see if she is able to do that. Now, after climbing with great determination in the slippery stalk of the water lily, she was exhausted, and when she reached on the surface, she dropped on a big round leaf. And after a long sleep, the water bug realized that she felt different. She looked at herself and was amazed at the transformation. She had grown 4 silver wings and a long slim body. She was a bit moist, but the warm rays of the sun soon dried her newly formed body. She felt a great urge to fly and moved her wings a bit nervously, and then gaining confidence she tried again and found herself rising up in the air. Without much effort, she rejoiced in her newfound freedom to fly about. It was a heady experience. She flitted about almost intoxicated because it was a new thing that she was able to do. She had grown 4 silver wings, a long slim body, and initially she felt a bit moist, but soon she was dried up because of the warm rays of the sun, and she had a great urge to fly. And as she moved her wings nervously, slowly she gained confidence and she found herself rising up in the air. And it was a very exciting experience for her, so much so that she went into a trance because of the excitement. That is what intoxicated means here. And she kept on flying. The dragonfly for that was what she had turned into after the metamorphosis. Now one more metamorphosis is very commonly known by all of you, that is of a butterfly. Yes, could not see the shell of her body. After the metamorphosis, dragonfly couldn't see the shell of her body. She thoroughly enjoyed herself, tried all sorts of acrobatics until she felt tired and landed on a lily leaf to rest for a while. As she lay there idly, she happened to see the pond bed. Now, through the clear water, everything was visible, and she spotted the water bug community below, hard at work as usual. She recollected the words she had spoken and the oaths that they had all taken. Now, the water bug turned dragonfly was a creature of honor. So, what will she do? Of course, she had told everyone and had taken an oath that they will go back and tell what the world outside was like. So she said, I cannot break my promise. I must return to my fellow beings and explain all that had happened, she said to herself, shrinking off her lethargy because she was already very tired because of all the flying. Yes, she tried to dive into the water. Alas, she had barely touched the surface of the water when she bounced back. She made several attempts but in vain. She was terribly distressed, means feeling upset and worried. Then it dawned on her that there was no going back. She could not go to the pond bed because she was no longer a water bug. Pond bed was for the water bugs. She could see them through the transparent water, but she was not able to go inside. She was bouncing back at the moment she was touching the surface of the water. This is the law of nature. She should respect it. She consoled herself by thinking that even if she went back, none of them would recognize her in her new appearance because a complete metamorphosis was done and she no longer looked like a water bug. She was a new creature altogether. So she thought that I should respect the law of nature, and she consoled herself that anyway they are not going to recognize me. And she said, now I will have to wait till they too become dragonflies. And she decided to move on and flew off, winging her way higher and higher into the wonderful world of warmth and light that her transformation had brought her into. Yes, now see children, this story gave us the same information that I was giving you at the start of the lesson in the warm-up passage. Now see, the same information has now been shared to you through a story. Yes, is it easier to remember the information after you turn it into a story? It is, right? Yes. So, all the stories are not just for enjoyment, they are also meant for us to help us keep the information in our head for a longer period of time. Whenever there is a story, what happens? We connect with it. We connect with the dilemma of the dragonfly, and thus we understood and will forever remember the steps of its transformation. Yes, very interesting now. So it's a rule that whenever you hear a story and you find it interesting, it stays with you in the memory, just like your day-to-day life activities you remember. Yes, so human psyche remembers good stories because they have characters they can relate to. One more thing interesting in this story was the personification done to the dragonfly, which is treated as a person having honor. She was a, it is written that it was a creature of honor. Yes, so this is an attribute that is always associated with human beings. So that is how personification is used here. One more thing, one thing mentioned here, that she respected the laws of nature. We should also respect that. This is my takeaway from this lesson. See you in the next one. Bye. Take care.